Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234 to kick things off. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So did we have some scattered thunderstorms in parts of New Jersey yesterday?
We did. We absolutely did. Even overnight, a few showers that came through, which is why the ground is wet this morning in some areas of New Jersey. Even with that, have some clouds that are lingering. You see the last 12 hours here from last night. A couple of sprinkles came through yesterday afternoon into the evening, and now they're starting to clear, given that we'll have a nice dry afternoon. But it's going to take some time for those rest of the clouds to clear from early this morning and likely see some of those gray sky, at least through the morning commute. And then we're back to sunshine later on today. A lot of the big activity is right down to our south and east, all of that pushing away. So we're just left with this little tail of clouds into the morning hours. It's due to a system that's just offshore, pulling away, giving us some drier weather for this afternoon. So later today, looks beautiful, nice and dry. And if you have the special solar eclipse glasses, you should be able to see the partial solar eclipse that'll be taking over. It's a total solar eclipse for portions of Europe, but for us, it'll look like the sun has a little bite taken out of it, like a piece of a cookie, around 1 o'clock today. So need the special solar glasses in order to see that. But with the clear sky into this evening and then another round of storms later on tonight, we clear out yet again for your Thursday, and a beautiful Friday is on tap with all that nice dry weather through the rest of the week into the weekend. Another round of overnight showers into Saturday morning, and then Saturday clears out. So the rain is timed out nicely in that it'll be nice and dry going into the overnight hours into this evening. And then down toward the tropics, we're pretty quiet over toward portions of Florida and the Gulf. No tropical activity, at least for the next several days, but keeping an eye down toward the Atlantic Basin, as now that that Saharan dust layer is starting to break up a little bit, might see some activity bubble up in the next few days. So we'll keep an eye on that. We've got another check of your forecast kind of coming up in the next few minutes.
I don't like those words bubble up. That always makes me
Bubble up.
unnerved. That always makes me think of how my tummy feels after I've had too many burritos and a milkshake. But that's a whole other story. That's a Thursday story. All right. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate you as always. It is 74 degrees northern New Jersey, 71 degrees in Trenton. Los Angeles, it is 69 degrees, 69 also in San Diego. And in terms of traffic, we have an issue on 287 right now. There's a crash northbound, north of exit 2, Route 27. Edison, the left lane is closed. You can see what it's doing right there. You can see the emergency vehicles on the scene. That's causing about 2.5, 3 miles of backups as a result on 287 in the Edison area. Garden State Parkway, debris on the Parkway local lanes southbound, south of exit 105 in Tinton Falls. All lanes are open. It's wood debris. It must have fallen off the back of a truck, but nonetheless, damage is done now. Everybody's swerving to avoid it. Over to, let's see here, to the other stuff. The other stuff is New York City. It's not, shouldn't be on the New Jersey maps here. Looking at the Hudson River crossings now, the approach to the Holland Tunnel is already heavy. 30 minutes. Look at the extreme left side of your screen. That is 30 minutes in at the Holland. The Lincoln Tunnel, much better. It's heavy but moving. The approach to the Helix is, and that's going to cost you about 15 to 20 minutes in. You can see how things are moving nicely in spite of the volume. And then to the GWB upper and lower levels, 8095 approach, also heavy but moving, about 20 minutes in. You'll see the upper level on the right, lower on the left. Nothing built up at the camera point, but just beyond the camera point underneath is where you start to get a slowdown. Over to Los Angeles, we have a report of a fire now in West Valley at the 101 and Haskell Avenue, road closure in East LA at the 10 and New Avenue, and another road closure, and this is in East LA at the 710 and South Atlantic Boulevard. Well, a big night for primary elections around the country. Last night, Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong, who famously said that she hated Thanksgiving, lost the Democratic primary there by several thousand votes. There she is. Strange lady, sorry to say. Strange lady. Every time she did an interview, she said something different. But she lost to the more mainstream Democrat there, Democrat David Crowley. Now, mind you, Many pundits are saying the days of mainstream Democrats are gone. It's all about the Democratic Socialists. No, I think that mainstream Democrats still have very much of a place. It's the big urban leftist cities, New York, LA, Chicago, where the Democratic Socialists may have a footing, but not in mainstream America. Ain't happening. Next door in Minnesota, Senator Amy Klobuchar got the Democrat nod to run for governor, while Republican Mike Lindell of My Pillow fame lost the primary for the GOP to Lisa DeMuth. And in South Carolina, the sister of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, that's the woman you saw there on the right. That's Amy Klobuchar. The other woman was Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene Graham Nordone. She was temporarily appointed to fill in as senator. Well, she ran in the GOP primary to be the main senator, to be elected to the seat. That's her on the right. And she is in a runoff. You have to get 50% or more not to have a runoff. She has a runoff with the gentleman you see on the screen there, Ralph Norman. So what's going to happen is at the end of the month, on the 25th, there'll be another primary, a special GOP primary, and then either Nordone, which is Senator Graham's sister, or the other gentleman we just saw, Ralph Norman. One of those two will get the nod to run for GOP. Basically, whichever one of the two gets it is likely to win in South Carolina. So there you go. It's a busy night in primary land. In other news, a video captured flames shooting out of an American Airlines flight. How'd you like to look out your window and see that? Well, let's see. There it is. Following a bird strike before the aircraft made an emergency landing at Myrtle Beach International Airport. The pilot of American Airlines Flight 1760, a Boeing 737-800, headed to Charlotte with 172 people aboard, was heard on air traffic control saying Mayday, which is not good. That means clear all the airspace. I need to come back. American Airlines denies that there was an engine fire. What you're seeing there is actually the spitting output of bird corpses. Sorry to say it, but I guess if you could smell it, it would smell like roast chicken. Nobody got hurt. The passengers they all landed safely together there, and they were placed on a replacement flight to get to Charlotte. They all made it just fine. But that is still unnerving to see out the window, especially see the vibration you get. That's actually the vibration you feel because the engine shakes on the piling when that happens. It's supposed to do that so the wing doesn't come off, so that if necessary, it could eject the engine and they could just fly on one engine. That's actually the way those planes are built. It's scary to think about, but it's actually brilliant design. Nonetheless, unnerving to look out the window and see that. I would be scared. And I'm an aviation fan, and I would be scared too. No worries. Everybody was okay. Other news at 8 minutes past the hour, Canadian police charged a man after a bomb threat against the U.S. consulate in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Police found his vehicle near the consulate with a propane tank and flammable liquids. An explosives expert determined the item did not threaten public safety. The incident follows 2 shootings targeting the U.S. consulate in Toronto this year. Authorities have not said whether the Halifax threat is connected to those shootings. Toyota recalling about 655,000 Camrys worldwide because of a display problem. The problem can make turn signals, hazard lights, and other safety warnings stop working. More than 508,000 affected vehicles are 2025 and 2026 Camry hybrids sold in America. A software problem can cause the car's 7-inch display to become blank. Toyota will notify owners and provide a free software update at certified dealerships. U.S. owners should receive recall letters starting about the 3rd week of September. Trump Media and Technology reported a $238 million loss during the second quarter of 2026. While that sounds like a lot, it really isn't. This is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and it's relatively new. So that is not a huge loss. But the company, which is the company behind Truth Social, lost more than 10 times what it lost last year. Still not a bad thing. The new CEO plans to abandon several businesses and focus more heavily on social media. The company is also launching Truth API, which gives traders faster access to Truth Social posts. Trump Media still plans on pursuing its nuclear fusion business through a proposed merger. The company had $1.7 billion in revenue last quarter, 1.7 million in revenue last quarter, along with more than $400 million in cash. So there's a lot of cash on hand. President Trump signed an order recommending major changes to childhood vaccination guidelines. The plan would divide vaccines into different groups based on children's health risks. which is the way it's supposed to be, as opposed to a blanket rule that every kid gets a vaccine. It also suggests separating some vaccines into different shots as opposed to 20 shots in one and spreading them across visits. Trump connected the changes to autism, but the scientists say the vaccines don't cause autism. However, you could look back at the data, and I'm not a scientist, but if you look back at when we had a spike in children with autism, it was when we started bunching vaccines 30 into one shot. So you can understand why people are upset about that. The question is, do they cause autism, or are people who are already predisposed to having autism triggered by it, or is there no connection at all? But it has to be researched. Medical groups warn that delaying or skipping vaccines could put children at greater risk. Bullshit. They didn't have vaccines 100 years ago, 150 years ago. They all lived. So, but you do want your vaccines. The changes come as measles cases have reached their highest level in decades, but also don't forget what also has its highest level in decades, what the liberals in the medical community don't want to talk about. Yeah, we have like 30 million illegal migrants who came here without getting any shots. So let's scratch our heads and wonder how we had a resurgence of measles. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Oh, no, don't talk about that because it doesn't fit the narrative for the left. Let's instead blame those MAGA kids who don't want to get their shots. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. They try to blame like the Amish community, but the Amish community never got vaccines. And yet they were some of the ones with the lowest COVID cases. Think about that. It is 12 minutes past the hour. British driver Andy Green set a new speed record using a hydrogen-powered car. Hydrogen is great because you can get it out of the air. Hydrogen's a major component of the air. He reached 406.32 miles an hour at Utah's famous Bonneville Salt Flats. The vehicle used 2 hydrogen engines, producing a combined 1,600 horsepower. Green previously set the, isn't that funny? His name is Green, too. Previously set the overall land speed record by reaching 763 miles an hour. He hopes that hydrogen technology can become an important energy source for heavy industries. You think? Because the output is water and carbon dioxide. So there's no heavy, dirty carbon pollution output. Most hydrogen today, though, is still produced using fossil fuels instead of renewable energy. But if they could figure out to use hydrogen to produce hydrogen, you'd have something there. So that's the next step. The U.S. experienced its hottest July ever recorded, according to NOAA. In July 2026, it was also the hottest month recorded during NOAA's 132 years of records. But again, that doesn't mean that 5 years before that point, it wasn't hotter. So we're only talking in the 132 years since we're keeping records. Temperatures averaged 76.9 degrees nationwide. That's 3.3 degrees above normal average. Extreme weather included heat waves, droughts, flooding, severe storms, things we get every year. We do. About 40% of the United States and Puerto Rico experience drought conditions. All right. The question is, how long does the drought last? How large an area does it get? Remember, California was under a drought for like 10 years. Now it's had more rain in the last couple of years than it's had in 50. So you have to balance it all out. But of course, the alarmists will just look at the certain statistics and nitpick. It is 14 minutes past. The first Los Angeles Jazz Festival had to suddenly be postponed just days before it began, or was to begin. The festival was scheduled to feature artists including John Legend and Chanel Monáe. Organizers blamed unexpected public safety and city costs connected to final permits. Many musicians and vendors had already spent thousands preparing for the event. Some performers lost money on their flights, hotels, rehearsals, etc. Artists compared the cancellation to the disastrous 2017 Fire Festival, which was a big fraud. The Patriot Games bring high school athletes from across the country together for competition. 2 teens from each state were selected to participate. Competitors are between 14 and 17. They had to answer questions about patriotism. The games include track and field, dodgeball, and a sport combining baseball and soccer. What would you call that? Bocker? Soccer ball? The winning boy and girl will each receive $125,000 in scholarship money. It's 15 minutes past the hour. When we come back, we'll talk with a man who's preparing to walk 3,000 miles across the U.S. after he was told he'd likely never walk again. Plus, meteorologist Mike Favetta's forecast. We're back in 2. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Wednesday, live in New York and New Jersey. And now we welcome our friends in Los Angeles and the state of Florida at 15 minutes past. Make that 17 minutes. I fibbed. 17 minutes past the hour. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has a forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Mike, the hottest, what was it, the hottest summer? Is that what they came down with? Or the
It
hottest,
was the hottest
what was
July. The
July?
hottest July, yes.
Which is why
So,
I sit on a giant ice cube all day.
oh, that's important. That's important. I sit on a giant ice cube for other reasons too, especially when you're out, in the shade. You have so much hot weather around. But hey, there's a lot of great weather to enjoy today after a cool down that we'll enjoy through the next few days because all of that heat from last week is starting to fade away, and with it, we had a few rounds of overnight storms helping the cooling process, taking all of that heat energy and pushing it away. So into tonight, we got another quick round of storms this afternoon. Will feel lovely, but I think will help energize a few storms, especially to our south. Then into tomorrow afternoon, we're back to sunshine. Friday looks great, and then Saturday, continued clearing. Once we get into Sunday, later on in the day, we might have a few afternoon showers, but that's way down the road. So again, looking forward into Friday afternoon looks great. Friday night, overnight into Saturday, a few sprinkles, and then Saturday, nice and dry. It's Sunday in the afternoon. You see that line of showers come through that clear the way for a beautiful Monday and Tuesday of next week. And with the clearing that takes over, it looks very pleasant going into next week with some cooler weather. So you see some of these showers and storms later on in the overnight. That clears by tomorrow, so we get a beautiful afternoon on Thursday. Look at that, nothing but sunshine all day long. And then the same deal happens again Friday. Sunshine in the morning, a little bit of rain overnight, clearing by Saturday as that high pressure swings on down from Canada, allowing for some beautiful weather. That will give way to some more showers, I think, by later Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. So keeping an eye on what may be a little bit of a wet finish to the weekend, but otherwise, we're looking good each and every afternoon. Just have a little bit of water to keep the plants watered, keep the lawns watered each and every overnight. And the gardens, can't forget about them as we're entering harvest season. Have the basil coming up, have a lot of the other herbs and plants because it's been a hot summer. And so now we get to enjoy the bounties of those gardens that we've all put so much work into since the start of summer.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I noticed because of the intense heat, like
Hmm.
I'll water the basil and then the next day I'll wake up and they're already withered. And I'm thinking, oh no, I must have overwatered. And then I'll feel the soil and it's dry. It's amazing how
Yeah.
that intense heat, from where I just moved, the sun literally hits the backyard all day. So it's not
Oh,
like, oh,
cool.
it only gets 4 hours in the morning. It's good and it's bad. It's bad because I noticed some of the neighbors, they shade their gardens with like green fencing and stuff like that. Now I know
Hmm.
why, because of the intense heat. But there you go, Mike. Yes, go get our basil. Indeed. All right, we'll check back with you, Sarah. It is 73 degrees northern New Jersey. Right now, 71 degrees in Trenton, Los Angeles, 69, 69 also in San Diego. Traffic, we have an issue still on, this is what, 278, Pam? Or 287 rather, you got 287. So this is 287. We had this is in Edison. This was you could see a wide shot they're showing now of smoke. Now there was you could see the traffic off to the right. Look down to this kind of the center lower part of the screen. You see the flashing lights. That was a vehicle off to the shoulder. That's kind of being dealt with. That's causing delays. But they widened out the shot to show that smoke. We don't know what that means. So I don't want to alarm anyone, but that is a forest preserve area. So it's very possible there is a forest fire, and that could be why they're showing us the wide shot. And now they're moving the camera, but that could very well be. So we'll look into that. We'll see why there's that smoke there. And on other traffic issues, let's go right to the Hudson River crossings if we can. The Holland Tunnel approach into Manhattan right now. We're getting about a 35-minute delay on 139. Look at the extreme left of the screen there. You can see those lanes are just stopped. Those go into the right tube, and that is just bumper to bumper. It's going to cost you 35. Over at the Lincoln Tunnel, that's going to cost you 25 minutes in, and the GWB upper and lower levels actually, there's the Lincoln approach, not so bad. The GWB upper and lower levels actually moving quite nicely. If you want to take that, it's only 15 minutes in, 80-95 approach, upper level on the right, lower on the left. LA right now, no major problems to report. It is 22 minutes after the hour in 2018. Fergus Farrell was told that he just had a 5% chance of ever walking again after suffering a spinal cord injury. Well, today he's preparing to walk 3,000 miles across the United States over 75 days to raise awareness for people who are living with spinal cord injuries. Never listen to the experts. The journey, well, maybe not never, but in this case, defy them. The journey beginning at the Brooklyn Bridge on August 22nd, ending at the Santa Monica Pier in November. It's being supported by the Reeve Foundation and Spinal Injuries Ireland with the partnership of Crown. So joining us to tell us about this amazing journey is Fergus Farrell, Ambassador for Mental Health Awareness, motivational and keynote speaker. Good morning to you, Fergus.
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
I'm great. I am so excited for you, as I'm sure everybody is. Take us back to 2018, though. What do you remember about being told that you only had a 5% chance of ever walking again, let alone doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, clearly it was a very devastating time in my life. Something I remember very, very, very well because as I laid in that bed and I was completely dependent on everybody else around me to move, just to feed myself, do all the basic things that everybody can do for every day of their lives. A realization came on me that this is my new life. My old life was over. I now need to start planning for my new life ahead. I didn't have time to have self pity, so I just put my head down and started working hard. And luckily, through that understanding hard work and visualization, I've managed to come out and become a better person than I ever thought I could be.
Fergus, I don't think I've ever heard of somebody recover like you. And I'm sure that Christopher Reeve, the late Christopher Reeve, is looking down from heaven, being so
Mm,
proud of your efforts, because
thank you.
that's all he wanted was to be able to walk again. And he spent so much money and time to try to push, as an ambassador while he was alive, to try to push getting some kind of a cure for spinal cord injuries. So your recovery has brought you now to the point of taking on a 3,000-mile journey, something that people who've never had a spinal injury likely will never do in their lives. So when did you first decide that was something you wanted to do?
It's quite an amazing story. I did a talk for Spinal Injuries Ireland in their wellbeing event here in Ireland in the RDS, and Christopher Reeves Foundation were there on the day as well, and they launched the documentary in Europe. And I was so inspired by that movie, and being in a room full of people with spinal cord injuries. I just said I need to do something for this community. It's my community as well. And with the Reed Foundation being there and me looking to do my next challenge, I just said, yeah, America's the place to do it. I can help out two amazing organizations and raise the profile and awareness for people living with spinal cord injuries. So that's how it came about. I was looking to do another challenge because that's who I am. I have to challenge myself. And just after that event, I got on so well with the people from the Reeve Foundation. I just said, yeah, this is my next challenge.
Well, I guess if you don't set a goal or a challenge for yourself, you never get off your butt, right? It'll never happen. So you have to set some kind of goal or some kind of, even if it's a small one, you have to set a challenge. For me, it's making it to the kitchen and getting a cup of coffee. So I have quite a lower bar than you do.
Yeah, yeah. I look at when I was going through my recovery in the National Rehabilitation Hospital. I said about because everybody was telling me I'm not going to walk in, forget about it. So I just said about the challenge. Very simple thing. Every day was a new day to improve. I never said I was going to walk in. I just focused on every day, get a small bit of improvement, no matter what. And obviously that worked for me. So no more than yourself going and getting the cup of tea. Everything for me in my life is a challenge or a competition. And that's what keeps me focused and keeps me driven. And no better way than walk across a continent, a country the size of America. That has kept me very focused and very driven over the last couple of years now.
Amazing. Amazing. So if you were to talk to a person who has a new spinal injury right now, spinal cord injury, what would you tell them? What would you want them to take away from Fergus Walks?
That their journey going forward, take it step by step, because every step counts. And that's exactly why I'm walking across America. 6 million steps, but which one of those is the most important? They all are, because every step counts. And when you're looking for your recovery, just put your head down and take those steps and let the journey take control of itself.
You're amazing. So your Fergus Walks
Thank
is
you.
designed to bring together people, companies, communities all together across the country. If somebody wants to get involved and become part of the journey, what can they do?
They can get onto the website, chrisreeves.org, and all the information is there, however way they want to get involved. There's many different options, so chrisreeves.org is the website to go to, and they can contact them directly and they can help out in whatever way that they can.
Well, we, as much as we here in the New York tri-state area, we remember our channels. We have channels on both the East Coast and the West. So we're in California and we're in New York. It's perfect that you have us on, but we're traditionally a New Jersey, New York channel. We love our Brooklyn Bridge, but the Santa Monica Pier is a pretty nice place to end up. It's a beautiful beach there. So I was just there myself a couple of months ago. It's absolutely lovely. So I know you have that vision in the back of your mind. We hope you make it there with a big smile on your face. And when you get there, please, if you get a chance, give us a report. We'd love to hear from you at that point. We know you're going to make it. You're an amazing, amazing man.
Thank you very much, Ken. I'd love to be back on and to tell you all about it when I get the job done.
An inspiration for everyone. God bless you. The walk kicks off August 22nd. Ambassador for Mental Health Awareness, motivational and keynote speaker, Fergus Farrell. Best of luck. And we will see you pretty soon, just a couple of months, right? We'll see you then. Actually, a month.
Yes.
We'll see you then. So you have a wonderful, actually, no, November is when you're intending on making it out there. But hopefully we'll see you back by early November. All right, my friend. Have a great morning. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Ken. Have a great day.
You too. What an amazing, amazing inspiration. It just, when you complain about an ache or a pain, or complain about having to get up 15 minutes early, you think about that guy being told he'd never walk again, not by one person, but a team of medical experts at the National Center in Ireland where they treat spinal cord injuries. Nope, you don't have a shot. And he's going to now walk 3,000 miles in this country. Amazing. When we come back, as artificial intelligence continues to reshape the workplace, it's changing not only how we work, but also how people learn to think, solve problems, and lead. We're going to talk about that in 2 minutes. Very good morning. 30 minutes past the hour, Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West. And also, we welcome our channel in Florida on FLA.com as well. Now, meteorologist Mike Favetta with a forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike, we say good morning to you. And how are we looking? I wanted to ask you how we're looking in terms of water. We talk about drought. We've had a lot of drought for the last 6 months. How are we
Hmm.
looking in the Northeast specifically now?
In the Northeast specifically, we've doubled the average amount of rainfall that's fallen in the last 30 days. So to have that much excess is really good news since the drought was bad about a month or two ago, but that's improved significantly just in the last 30 days. And you can see with all of the areas of flooding rains that we've had, specifically with these slow moving thunderstorms that moved across New Jersey throughout the month of June and July. Well, here we are into August, looking beautiful throughout this afternoon. A couple of morning clouds giving way to clear sky later today. And out west, that heat continues. We'll talk more about the West Coast in just a bit, but I wanted to touch on the tropics really quickly because down toward Florida, where not much rain has fallen recently, we get the typical afternoon thunderstorms later on today inland away from the coast. Good to fill up the fresh water there in the Everglades. But beyond that, the tropics are quiet until, well, about now, because in the next 7 days, there will likely be a little bit more of a chance of development out in the Atlantic basin because that Saharan dust is quieting down somewhat. Out toward the west coast we go, where some of those winds off of the water, allowing for a little bit of a marine layer each morning. By the afternoon, that subsides, and then the clouds linger, I think, each morning into the midday. But we see the clearing each and every afternoon as that heat continues, thanks to that big high pressure that's over the four corners, allowing for that record heat to remain out west. But beyond that, no rain there, staying quiet throughout this afternoon and into the next few days into the weekend. Our weather looks pretty this weekend, especially on Saturday, the pick of the weekend. We'll give you those details, Ken, with another check of your forecast in a few minutes.
So the Saharan dust basically acted like a giant absorbent sponge for the atmosphere, right? It
Hmm.
kind of prevented some of that moisture from building and swirling and causing storms. Is that, from a layman's term, basically what happened?
Yeah, so the tropical activity requires heat and a lot of heat, and it's a heat engine, a hurricane. So if there's
Uh,
none of the heat to start the engine, you don't get a storm.
and the dust also kind of blocks some of that sun, even if it's just a few degrees difference. That makes all the difference in the world, right? With the waters.
Yeah, because it sits high in the atmosphere, not even where the weather forms in the stratosphere, it reflects a lot of that sunlight and so prevents that cooling effect in the higher levels of the atmosphere. So it really does prevent hurricanes.
But it's a 50-50, right? Because as much as it's nice we don't get a hurricane, a lot of the Southeast relies on hurricanes or at least
Sure.
major storms, maybe not hurricanes,
Hmm.
to so that they don't have droughts, right?
Exactly. Yep.
All right. So we take the good with the bad. Thank you so much, Mike. Always love a weather lesson from Mike Favetta, meteorologist and professor, by the way, teaches meteorology. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you. It
Yeah.
is 73 degrees right now, northern New Jersey. It is 71 degrees in Trenton, 69 in Los Angeles. As artificial intelligence continues to reshape the workplace, it's changing not only how we work, but also how people learn to think, solve problems, and lead. And to break down how organizations can leverage AI while still developing the next generation of leaders, we have Brian Gorman, an executive advisor, coach, facilitator, and speaker with expertise in leadership development and workplace performance. Good morning, Mr. Gorman.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for inviting
Nice
me.
to have you on. It's a pleasure having you on, sir. So let's talk about what experiences are most important in helping somebody actually develop into a strong leader.
Well, Ken, the first thing it's important for people to understand is that there is a difference between intelligence and wisdom, and we need both. Artificial intelligence is elevating the level of intelligence that's available to all of us, but we still need to develop that wisdom, that learned experience that allows us to think critically, to discern, to judge, to make ethical decisions, and so forth. And so, as we elevate the role of AI, especially as we talk about entry-level positions where AI can do the data analysis, can do the report drafting and so forth, we're taking away some of those early learning lessons that you and I had in our early days in our career.
Right. And we just talked actually yesterday, I guess, with a professor of psychology talking about how people had been using AI therapy, if you will, and how dangerous it can be if you don't know what you're doing. And AI doesn't understand the nuances of psychological therapy and coaching people. It just looks at the black and white, if then, if then, if then, depending on how it's programmed, right? And what's out
Right.
there on the internet. And unfortunately, it for people who genuinely need emotional direction, AI may not be it could actually be a very dangerous decision because of what you're talking about.
Exactly.
It is so
Exactly.
important. There's still a place for humans. That's a good thing.
Well, and I think that's such an important message, Ken. So thank you for saying that. Um, we as humans tend to think in either or. Either we're going to eat breakfast or we're not. Either we're going to um, take this job or we're not. But AI raises the importance for us in terms of both and thinking. Both what can AI give to us, give to our organizations, what can they contribute, and what needs to remain human? What do we still need to be a significant part of as we move forward?
So, Brian, we see AI taking on more of a role of research analysis, writing, problem solving, although I should say the writing has been awful. Anytime I look at something written by AI, I think we could all, at this point, maybe it'll change, but at this point, you can kind of say that's AI. It's so obvious. But what opportunities might employees be losing and or gaining with AI as it continues to grow?
Well, let's take both sides of that equation. On the losing side, if you look at your early career, and I don't know what an early career as a journalist and a reporter is, but if you look at your early career, I'm sure there are things that you did that AI is now doing. The same certainly in my career, in my early work as a change consultant and so forth. And so the responsibility now falls more than ever before on supervisors, not just to assign tasks and to critique the results, but to look at how can you leverage both that team member and artificial intelligence to develop that team member's skills. So it might be asking them to, yes, go ahead and use AI to draft this, do the analysis, draft this report. But when you come back, I want a critical analysis of what's come out of it. Or it might be very much for those of your viewers who have been on debate teams, it might be present the findings and your recommendations, and you might want to do that with AI. But now when we sit down, debate the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be much more intentional, almost taking your junior level workers and treating them more like apprentices that you are, and I actually go back to your earlier guest, mentoring and coaching in order to help them grow in their leadership capabilities.
Well, it's funny you said that, talk about debate. I was a debater in high school and college, and we were always taught that you have to be successful, you have to be able to debate your opponent's side better than they can. That way you can look at, you know how to cut them off at the pass, and you know how to debate all of their arguments better. And so it's fascinating you mentioned that. Uh, what, though, I have seen with current AI, and as you mentioned, it's still in its relatively early phase, many times we're getting questions or we're asking questions rather and getting answers that are either entirely wrong or clearly opinionated, and they're not, it's not evidentiary, and we could ask the question three times and get three different answers. Is that something that'll just evolve, or does it really depend on who it is at the top controlling the AI programs?
Yes to both of those options, Ken. Um, and if you ask the same question just slightly differently, you're also going to get a different answer, which again raises the importance of our judgment, not just taking the answers that come out of the technology and running with them. So often I'm hearing leaders blame AI. AI made the decision. No, AI made a recommendation. You made the decision to follow that recommendation. I think we need to be much more vigilant in taking responsibility for the ways in which we're using the technology, because it can be a great, great value, and if we're not careful, a significant risk.
Brian, I could talk to you for days about this. I love it. What is a website so people could reach out to you?
My website is transforminglives.coach.
I love it. Oh, I didn't realize there was a dot coach. That's a
Ken,
great, it's awesome.
when I went to get the website, I went for .com and it was $19,000, and they offered me .coach for $1.99.
Smart decision. Smart decision. I'm with you 100%. Executive advisor, coach, facilitator, speaker, and very smart businessman, Brian Gorman. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Ken. Have a great day.
You bet. You too, sir. It is 44 minutes past the hour. When we come back, fashion is always looking ahead, right? Fashion forward. But some of the biggest inspiration for designers can actually be found in the past. Our Don Del Russo, resident fashionista, will be here to talk about it in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, 46 minutes past the hour. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
So you see a little more stickiness today as you go outside.
There is a little bit more stickiness, especially if you're in southern New Jersey, but northern New Jersey will actually clear out and stay nice and dry into this afternoon, thanks to that front moving by, giving us a dry northerly breeze and helping the air feel a little bit more refreshing by the end of the day. A lot of storms out in the Midwest, but they're not going to be a bother to us until we get to later on tomorrow night into Friday. Any rain chances we have are during the overnight hours, and then we're nice and dry each afternoon. afternoon. That'll be the case again for Saturday, whereas Sunday morning starts dry and then a few showers come in by later on in the day. That's really the only exception is Saturday afternoon. But Monday and Tuesday of next week are a beautiful way to kick off the next week in August. So if you have a vacation coming up, we're going to start off next week lovely and dry. Here's our next chance of wet weather. Comes through northern New Jersey later on tonight into tomorrow morning. You see another round there through central New Jersey, and then clearing by the afternoon. There's our front giving way for beautiful clear sky on Friday afternoon, and then another round of light showers comes through overnight into Saturday morning. Sunday starts off nice and dry, but you see the warm weather creep back in for the end of the weekend with some showers. The hot stuff, that's down along the Gulf Coast for the next 2 weeks. We'll just see the average heat here in New Jersey. Even with that, slighter, higher chance of some rainfall into the end of that period. But beyond that, our drought situation is doing much better than we were even a month ago, considering how much rain has fallen, Ken, in the last 30 days.
Days, my gosh, I can only count to 29, so I have a big problem now. But anyway, all right, sir, we appreciate you. We will check back, Mike, at the top, and we'll see in just a little bit. It is 73 degrees northern New Jersey, 71 in Trenton. It is 69 in Cape May and 74 degrees already in Vineland, Los Angeles, 69, 70 degrees in San Diego. Well, fashion, always looking ahead, right? Well, some of the biggest inspiration for designers can actually be found in the past. Luxury fashion houses are increasingly searching online marketplaces, auction houses, even vintage dealers for pieces they originally created decades ago. Why reinvent the wheel? Somebody had all these great thoughts, might as well reuse them. They only got used once. To break down why major designers are buying back their own vintage pieces, we have fashion expert Don Del Russo of our favorite website, livetheglamour.com. That's glamour with an O-U-R. Good morning, Don.
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Well, it's one thing for designers to go back and look at their old designs and kind of resurrect them. It's another thing for designers, I put in air quotes, to look at other people's or late designers' work and go, I could riff on that and make a lot of money. But fashion houses are bringing back pieces one way or the other that they designed decades ago. So why is that happening now?
It's all of a sudden it's huge, it's exploding. And this has been, these retailers have sold, did luxury houses for a long time. And we've had eBay selling it for years, 20 plus years, reselling designers that people sell of their own. But I think that these brands are now seeing what the value is in their products and in their brands. I know they've always known their value, but the amounts that things are selling for, these vintage pieces that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, that they're seeing being resold, they want to get back in on that. So not only are they just looking at it for their sketches and their runways and seeing the quality of their products, because sometimes they go back to see, let's see how we tailored this. Let's see how we made this. Let's see how a previous creative director worked with our collection and use that for inspiration. But they're not really just using it for inspiration. They're actually going in and rebuying back their product and then taking these collections and reselling them. It's wild. So they're not just recreating them, they're actually reselling the pieces that they sold 30 years ago.
Hey, why not make the money, while you're still alive, especially, right? Take that cash, however you can get it. But if you think about it, younger generations have never seen it before in many cases, certainly not in person. So for them, it's all brand new.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of them now are, younger. They're not doing the vintage shopping. There was a big resurgence of vintage shopping. Everybody would go and do that. And, it was sort of fun. Not that they're not still doing that, but these designers and even brands like Reformation, they're making it easier by doing that themselves. They're going out, they're going into the market, they're hunting for the pieces that people are looking for. I know Pucci, Missoni, Gucci, those are big brands right now that everyone's looking to have a vintage version piece of, and they actually want the real thing. So rather than them having to go scour through the market and find these pieces, designers are doing that for customers and then putting higher price tag on it, which is wild.
It's amazing.
It really is.
And in some cases, the designers in some cases are taking one vintage piece and they're using that to launch a whole new line, right?
Yes, exactly. Especially for like anniversary collections, they're coming out with. They're taking. I know, even brands that aren't luxury, they're taking their anniversary collections, or they're taking collections from the past and making them anniversary collections. So if they did something 30 years ago, they're reinventing it to make it seem new again, and they're taking the tailoring, some of the stitching and the hardware that was used then, which I have to say the quality is definitely not the same. It's really incredible to see the type of quality that was put. I even went back to my old collections, pieces that I had from years ago, and I was just looking through them and I'm like, wow, this lining is so much nicer. The hardware on the bag is so much better. The leather, the quality, all of it really was done then much better than it's done now. Even the leather is different, if it's even leather.
Well, I guess today, I mean, it's all about mass production, right? So if you could make it
Yeah.
cheaper by making it with some inferior die cast metal as opposed to a real, precious metal of some sort, then they'll do that. And that's why you get the clamps that break, the clasps that bend, and they're cheesy looking. From afar they look real, and people go, "Ooh, look at that!" But up close, you go to close your bag, and it snaps open, and you lose your wallet, and there you go. That's cheap you buy, cheap you
Exactly.
get. So please tell me that the bell bottoms, the flare pants are not going to come back, because I just really never liked them. I lived through it the first time.
I hope not. It is funny when you've lived through it once, you really do not want it to come back again. And you can't understand why anybody would. So I'm hoping not. I'm not seeing too much of them. So let's keep them in the past for sure.
Yeah. And by the way, they're not comfortable. I've worn them. I mean, I actually in the early 70s, that was the style. I was born in 1967, and I remember having a pair of navy blue corduroy bell-bottom slacks. Could you follow that?
Oh my.
And it was like for some big party, and I was maybe 8 years old, and that was in fashion, and it was the most uncomfortable thing because the leg is tapered tight above, and then they
Yeah.
flare out at the bottom, and you trip while you're walking. You're literally tripping over yourself. It's like some moron felt it was a good idea on a piece of paper, but it was never tested. And then they just mass produced it, and everyone thought, "Ooh, that looks interesting," and everybody started buying it. But people were falling all over the place. You'd see people trip and fall in Manhattan streets with these things. That's why it only lasted a few years. That's why.
That's,
But maybe
that's
something should stay in the past.
yeah, I think that definitely should stay in the past for sure.
I
I
love
know
it. I love it.
it's interesting to see though, so that how brands are doing this and bringing things back. So we'll see.
So do you think that right now there's such a fascination with fashion archives, if you will, also because, as you mentioned, younger people are not going in, that there aren't as many of those little vintage shops that there were years ago, and younger people are not walking by and exploring, that they like to sit on their phones and look instead? Is that why? And now that you see these shops popping up online, now there's a resurgence?
Yes, absolutely. And there are a lot of people, I'm seeing them more and more just like on Instagram, that are doing the shopping for it. There's so many people curating, going in and finding the vintage pieces and curating that for people and reselling it. I mean, they're everywhere. They're selling bags and shoes and clothing and all sorts of pieces that no one wants to really dig deep for. I mean, there's a ton of websites besides eBay. There's Depop and the Real Real and Poshmark. You can go on all these sites yourself as a consumer and find the pieces, but you have to know what you're looking for and also know if it's real. So if you're looking for a bag, there's so many fakes that are put out there, and a lot of these people that know how to do and buy vintage, they can find the pieces that are authentic and real, because do not want to go on one of these sites and think you're buying this bag and spend $1,000, $2,000 and it's not real. So it is important to find someone that does know that if you're not aware of that. And I think that's why younger generations are probably looking towards that a little bit more. It's a lot easier to have someone that does that for you, but the price tag is going to go up. So it's going to be much higher if someone's doing the work for you.
I love those experts who could just glance at a bag. They look inside, they look at the stitching, they go, "It's a fake." How do they know immediately? I guess they have like two or three bullet points they look for. And if you don't pass the muster on those, that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, I try. I'm not a vintage shopper. I've always said I wish I could be. I wish I was the type of person that could go in there and find the Chanel, but I can't, and I feel like I will be the one person that does, and it won't be real. So I stay away from it. I don't do that. I just hope that the pieces I buy now, in 30 years from now, maybe I could resell them and they'll be worth something.
I think you have to come up with a whole Don Del Russo line. That's what you need to do.
Yeah,
The
there we go.
DDR. Call
I
it
love it.
DDR. Or how about this? D squared R.
I
That's
love
cool. D
yes.
square R, the new fashion line. And then you
I
have
would-
some real arrogant commercial that starts in the black and fades up and has a swirl of light. D square R, unveiling itself in September. You could use that. Take it. It's mine.
I
For
could
my gift
love
to you. All right.
it.
Don Del Russo of livetheglamour.com. That's glamour with an OUR. We always appreciate you, Don. Have a great day, great week.
Nice, Ken, you too.
All right, 58 minutes past the hour. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be right back with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Back in 2. Very good morning. It is 8 a.m., Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Mixed sun and clouds. Could be a stray shower or thunder shower. The guy that knows the details is meteorologist Mike Favetta.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So what is it?
Well, the stray thunderstorm you mentioned happens, but it's later tonight, like after midnight time frame. So during the day, we've got beautiful clear sky. We cleared out the clouds from earlier this morning. Temperatures already warming in through the 70s. And while it's more humid down the shore, especially toward Cape May and Atlantic City, you feel the drier air build in right now through Morristown and Newark, even toward Long Branch. So plenty of lovely weather around this morning, a little bit cooler in the northern half of the state, and it will remain dry through all day today. So the futurecast showing all that clear sky through this afternoon, a lovely breeze out of the west, and that'll take our highs back into the low 90s in some parts today. Later on tonight, approaching midnight, you see these storms move in and really fire up in intensity across New Jersey between 1 and 2 a.m. We'll get a good soaking statewide as this moves on through, and then it's all clear into tomorrow morning in the afternoon, bringing back a lovely round of sunny weather for your Thursday. Friday looks great as well. Even Saturday keeps it clear, so we're running dry right through this weekend. I think Sunday afternoon could have some passing showers later on in the day. But beyond that, we're looking great with temperatures closing in on average, but cooling off day by day with the humidity giving way to drier weather into this weekend, Ken.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Weekends we like. Appreciate that. It
Hmm.
is 74 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 71 degrees in Trenton. It's 70 degrees in Cape May, 74 degrees in Vineland. In terms of traffic, a couple of things we have to talk about, and they're all related to well, let's talk about one first, Garden State Parkway, but this is way out of our camera shot. This is all the way back down at exit 17. So as you're approaching Cape May, there is an overturned vehicle off the roadway. It says an overturned vehicle and a vehicle off the roadway. So potentially two different vehicles. This is the Garden State Parkway southbound, just north of exit 17, which is Sea Isle Boulevard in Dennis Township. So you're talking about within like 8 miles of Cape May or so that this is. So this says it's off the roadway by the right shoulder. Don't know how much traffic it's causing down there. This time of year, it could be very trafficy because it is summertime. So that's something we're going to have to look into. But nonetheless, that is something to avoid. Other areas really are just the Hudson River crossings. The Holland Tunnel right now is going to cost you a solid 40 minutes in. That's Route 139. Look at this, making your way from the Turnpike to the tubes. Over to the Lincoln Tunnel, they're not bad at all, those tubes. That's only going to be about 30 minutes entirely all the way through the helix. Even though you could see it is trafficy, it is moving. The problem that worries me there, though, you see the buses. The buses are not moving. Whenever the buses don't move, that's a very bad thing because they only have the one dedicated lane in the rightmost tube in the rightmost lane. So if the buses are not moving, there's a problem in the right tube, the south tube. So we have to find out what's going on. But look at the stream of buses there. They're not moving at all. And we're told that in the other lanes of traffic, it's 30 minutes in. But I have to find out what's going on with those buses because you're talking about tens of thousands of people take those express buses in, and they're all stopped right now. We'll check that out. Over to the GWB, actually a very good ride there, with the exception of this. We have a disabled truck reported now mid-span. Now it just got reported, so it's not showing up here. This is the 2 mile point before the bridge. So we're looking from 2 miles and beyond, looking further west. That's a westbound shot you're looking at. So behind the camera is where it begins to build. And I'm sure by the next camera shot, we're going to be seeing traffic here. So just something to keep an eye on. No matter what, it seems that your best bet of the three spots is still going to be the Lincoln Tunnel. Just avoid the bus lanes. If you are a bus, that's a problem. Any way else to get into the Lincoln Tunnel, that's a good way to go. All right, it's 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. The New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial and Museum provides a place to honor those who served, remember those who never made it home, and educate younger generations about the experiences and the lasting impact of the Vietnam era. To tell us more about the museum's mission, its importance to veterans and their families, and some upcoming events, we have Bob Seamer, a guide at the museum and representative of the docents on the board of trustees. Good morning, Bob. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for inviting me to tell you a little bit about the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial and Museum.
You know what? I was a kid through the Vietnam era, and I just saw the disgraceful way that these poor veterans were treated when they came back. My dad was a Korean vet, and he was sick to his stomach about the people who protested, the people coming back from the Vietnam War, who gave so much, lost limbs, and and so many tens of thousands who died. So the Vietnam era vets just deserve nothing but respect for all they had to endure. And for people who may not have visited the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial and Museum, what is the mission? Talk about it for us, please.
Okay, Ken, thank you for acknowledging our efforts and our struggles when we first came back. However, a lot of that has changed, and a lot of it is because of the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial and Museum, which we provide a great opportunity for the public to see and visit us. We're right on the Garden State Parkway, exit 116. And currently we have a Chief Executive Officer, Amy Osborne, who's very passionate. She's committed. She's very creative. So she's done a lot to open up the memorial again to the public after COVID, when we didn't have many visitors. So it's very vibrant up there right now. We have a lot of events going on, but we have a great staff up there. And one of the unique things about our museum is, I know on New Jersey is exclusively New Jersey. And that's a perfect opportunity for people to come to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial because it's a unique facility in the United States. It's the only Vietnam memorial in the United States that has the memorial and also an accompanying museum and education center. We do a lot of school tours during the year. We have thousands of school children coming through there. Another unique thing about our memorial is all the tour guides or docents are Vietnam veterans. So you get a unique perspective of people who were there firsthand. They share their stories, their experiences, not only about Vietnam and the struggles we had over there, but about the whole Vietnam era. It's very educational, and we have thousands and thousands of people who pass us every day on the parkway. Stop in and say hello. It's a great place for a day trip. We have picnic tables. There's a lot to see and do up there. And again, it's a wonderful opportunity to learn about history and experience history with the Vietnam veterans that are present there.
Bob, it's interesting because when I saw that you were the head of docents, I actually had a flashback to my Latin days in high school. I went to Regis High School in Manhattan, had to take 4 years of Latin, and I immediately remembered my one Latin teacher teaching us doceo docere in Latin, to teach. Right, so that's
Yes.
technically what a docent does. You teach. That's where we get the
Yeah.
word doctor from. It comes from docere in
One
Latin.
of
Wow,
our
that's all that came back.
Okay, Ken. Now, one of our tour guides is a graduate of Regis also.
Oh my God, there you go. There you go. That
Before
means I have
you,
to come visit.
before you were there, but he's a graduate of Regis, which I know he's very proud of.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I am so excited that you are there, and tell everybody why it is so essential that all future generations understand what happened during the Vietnam era and that the sacrifices that the military men and women made during that time. Why is that so essential that that message be told?
Yes. Well, as I said earlier, we do a lot of school tours. We do tours for other groups, and of course, individuals can just come in with families on their own. And a lot of people are really amazed or surprised that all the things that went on during the Vietnam era and how the war impacted society. War always impacts
Mhm.
society, but at that time, society also impacted the war. And we talk about the history of Vietnam, how we got involved over there, and then the draft, the soldiers, which is an education for people now. A lot of people don't remember the draft. Vietnam was the last war that we had an active draft where people were conscripted into military service. So that's another aspect of our educational points up there. We have a lot of events going on up there too. Uh, Again, Amy has opened up the museum to engage the public to come in and see our facility, but also we have events. We do a lot of events honoring uh, veterans, those who have served, and of course the memorial, which has 1,566 names on it of New Jersey residents who didn't make it home from Vietnam.
Mm. And you have an upcoming event, speaking of which, the in memory ceremony, which is happening September 14th. So talk about that.
Yes, so the 1,566 names are the individuals, the men and one woman who did not make it home from Vietnam. However, we have an ongoing ceremony, which is called In Memory, which we have every year. And it's a memory, it's a tribute to those who have died, Vietnam veterans who have died because of their service in Vietnam. They didn't die in Vietnam, but their deaths have been attributed to what they experienced in Vietnam. It could be results of wounds or injuries they had in Vietnam. It could be results of Agent Orange long lingering
Hmm.
effects and the consequences of certain diseases that are affiliated with Agent Orange exposure. It could be from exposure to PTSD, where veterans unfortunately take their own lives. So there's every year we have the annual ceremony where we commemorate the veterans who have died because of their service in Vietnam. And this year we're inducting 17 people. We had the ceremony last year. Uh, it had been on hold there a little bit because of the COVID situation, but we had one again last year, and it was rejuvenating because it was a different time of the year. It was so inspiring and so emotional for those people there. But it's a wonderful opportunity because, as you alluded to earlier, Vietnam veterans did not have a welcoming home traditionally like other veterans did during other periods of time of conflict. So this provides an opportunity for these families to acknowledge the efforts of the veterans of their service in Vietnam. And also you see the second generation, you see grandchildren, sometimes great-grandchildren, and others who now can pay respects to the veterans who served in Vietnam.
Well, and you have the 32nd annual golf classic coming up September
The
30th.
golf
That's
classic
happening.
is,
Yep.
yes,
Go ahead.
the
Talk
golf
about that.
classic is coming up. It's going to be at Rambleswood Country Club down in Mount Laurel, which is, I understand it, is a very nice golf course. Come down, golf. It's a fundraiser. It's a way to support our memorial. There's many ways to support a memorial. You can go online and do that. You can do it through these fundraisers. Also on your tax return, let's not forget that. Once a year on your tax return, let's consider making a donation to the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial. We also have the Huey Reserve, which is a new event that Amy has initiated this year. The Huey is the iconic helicopter that was used during the Vietnam War. Many people refer to it as the helicopter war. And we have an actual Huey helicopter that was in action in Vietnam. It was brought back to the United States, and a bunch of the docents refurbished that whole helicopter, and it's now mounted outside the museum. And we're going to have a night of fine spirits, cigars, and camaraderie, and just talk about Vietnam and other things. And hopefully we'll also have the sound effects, which is another, if you've seen any Vietnam movies or anything like that, you know that sound of that Huey, and you can sit there and experience it with Vietnam veterans.
It's penetrating with the sound of metal clanging. It's a very unique sound.
You got
having
it. It's
heard
a
myself.
unique sound.
Yep.
Yes.
It is. I've heard it actually up close at the Long Island Aviation Museum, and it's intense. The website for more information is njvvmf.org, right? njvvmf.org. We got it right on the screen.
Yes.
Bob Seymour, the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial and Museum Guide and representative of the docents on the Board of Trustees. Such an important place. Every person in New Jersey has to be through there at some point. It is essential. It is our past. And the only way to have a successful future is to understand your past. Bob Seymour, God bless you. Thank you for what you do, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Ken.
You bet. All right, it's 8:15 right now. And when we come back, another check of the forecast. We're back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 817, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike, already sticky in 74 in northern New Jersey.
Yeah, but the humidity is dropping today, Ken, and that's what's going to
You could
feel
feel it.
great over the
Yeah.
next few days. Yeah, it's a nice, comfortable level of humidity that takes over, especially in central New Jersey, where highs today only making into the mid 80s, but with that, it will be refreshing with that drier weather taking over. So you see the forecast dew points. Anytime they're in the 50s, that's comfortable, and we sit there much through this afternoon. Down the shore, obviously, along the water, a little more humid, even into tomorrow, and especially down by Cape May. With much more muggy weather on the way for tomorrow. But up north, staying nice and dry and clear throughout Friday and even Saturday with that comfortable weather. Look at that 47. That's like September levels of humidity. Lovely weather on the way into this weekend. Also have a good deal of sunshine. UV index back up at a 7. Could reach an 8 in spots. But again, with the sun today out in full effect, we have a partial solar eclipse for New Jersey happening between 1 and 2 p.m. You need those special solar glasses to look up at the sun, and it'll look like a little bite of a cookie is taken out of it because the moon, just 10% of the sun will be covered by a little corner of the moon as the total solar eclipse is happening for portions of Europe this afternoon. Our weather this afternoon is nice and dry. Overnight, we see some more showers and storms, but that clears by tomorrow, and we're back to temperatures up in the upper 80s and low 90s. Then into Friday, the dry weather persists. We stay clear going into Saturday, and that lovely weekend weather sticks around with lots of sunshine all weekend long. So the weekend forecast looks great both days, Saturday and Sunday. I think later on in the day, there could be some sunshine returning with some showers in the end of the forecast period, specifically Sunday afternoon. So other than that, the weekend looks really, really pretty picture perfect again going into the what is this, the third weekend in October and in
Isn't that
August.
crazy?
Yeah, I
That's
know.
insanity. And then,
Hmm.
of course, once September 1st comes, technically we still have summer for a few more weeks, but we never count it, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's fall, even though it's not
We
fall.
call it
It,
local summer, right? Because if you go down the shore, everything is still open. You've got great weather, but the crowds aren't there.
yeah, well, there you go. That's the time when we all enjoy it. All right.
Yeah.
It's a time to escape. Mike, thank you very much, sir. It is 73 degrees northern New Jersey, 72 in Trenton. Let's take a look at this one shot we want to show you. This is 495, the Helix approach. What I want to point out is look at the line of buses. See that line of buses toward the left, just above the C in call, that line of buses there stopped. That usually flows. That's usually the only thing that moves. It is dead stopped. And we now know the reason. There's a disabled bus in the exclusive bus lane from east of New Jersey Turnpike in North Bergen Township to west of Boulevard East Weehawken, which is just toward the top of the screen. And that's why everything is stopped. So they're actually trying to detour buses off. Here's the problem. Those buses that are heading east are in the westbound lane. So you can't just have them go take another lane because you have traffic coming at you westbound. So they're basically trapped right there. Those are all buses. They've been stuck there for about half an hour, not moving, and they're waiting for an emergency tow to come and take that disabled bus. So if you know anyone who comes in by express bus, it ain't so express this morning. It's absolutely stopped going through the Lincoln Tunnel. Unfortunately, they're gonna probably all be about an hour late to work. It is 21 minutes past 8 o'clock. In the news, Luigi Mangioni's state murder trial and the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson set to begin with jury selection September 8th. The final pretrial hearing was held yesterday. The trial expected to last up to 8 weeks. The judge said the case would proceed even if there were any outstanding motions left to be addressed. The 28-year-old Mangione is accused in New York State court with second-degree murder, possession of a forged instrument, and 6 weapons charges related to the fatal shooting of Brian Thompson in December of 2024. Mangione also slated to stand trial on federal stalking charges in January 2027 and has pleaded not guilty to all charges. A mother and her 5-year-old child were hit by a car yesterday morning. The crash happened near Broadway and Fairlawn Parkway around 6:30 in the morning. Police say the driver left the scene after hitting the pair. The 47-year-old woman was taken to, with the child, taken to Hackensack University Medical Center. Residents say crossing Broadway is a dangerous thing in that area. Unfortunately, it happens all too often that we have an accident. New Jersey State Police searched parts of Trenton City Hall during a misconduct investigation yesterday. The investigation involves allegations that a former city employee stole money. City officials discovered the allegations in 2024. They began internal investigations. The employee left the city after the allegations became public. The city then sent its findings to the New Jersey Attorney General's office. No charges have been announced yet. The investigation is ongoing. Jersey Central Power and Light wants to increase customers' electric bills by nearly 9%. The company says the increase would help pay for storm damage and infrastructure improvements. A typical residential customer could pay about $14 more a month. The proposed storm recovery charge would begin 2028 and last for 10 years. JCP&L says it's invested billions to improve reliability and prepare for severe storms. The New Jersey Board of Public Utilities must approve the proposed rate increases. New Jersey is spending $6 million to expand digital skills training for residents receiving public assistance. 6 organizations will receive funding to provide technology training and career opportunities. The program helps participants earn certifications that can improve their chances of finding jobs. During the first round, hundreds of people received training and hundreds earned certifications. The state says that digital skills are increasingly important today, and this program will be supported through January 2028 because of that money. New Jersey will see a partial solar eclipse this afternoon, not a total one, but a partial one. The eclipse begins around 1:05. It ends at 2:39. The exact viewing times depend on where you are, so it might be off by a few minutes in either direction. Remember, do not stare at the sun. Certainly do not stare through anything with a magnification. Don't even use your phone, because your phone can magnify. Basically, don't look up at the sun. Don't do that. You can wear special eclipse sunglasses, not regular sunglasses. Regular sunglasses, you will burn your retina. You can use eclipse sunglasses that have special polarized lenses. If they don't say that they're for staring at a solar eclipse, do not look up at the sun. Okay. It's not that the sun becomes more powerful during an eclipse. It doesn't. But because it's partially blocked, people think, oh, I could look up at it now because it's not as bright as it usually is. And they stare at the sun and they burn their retinas. You can go blind. So don't stare at the sun. Let a professional photographer, videographer shoot it for you. You could look at it on a screen. It's safe that way. The next total solar eclipse, by the way, happens in August of 2027. There's a new craze called slug ball, and it's a fresh new take on the game of baseball. Not only is it fun to play, but it also finds ways to give back to the community. This past weekend, several former MLB players took part in the inaugural Slug Ball All-Star Classic, all to benefit those in need. On New Jersey's Mike Black reports from Philadelphia.
We're at the University of Pennsylvania at Tommy Lasorda Field. Let's play slug ball. Phillies legends step back onto the field to play in the very first Slug Ball All-Star Classic. The event benefits 2 charities that have a special place in Philadelphia's heart: the Darren Dalton Foundation, which helps families of victims with malignant brain tumors, and the Ruben Amaro Senior Foundation, which gives all college athletes a chance to thrive regardless of their finances.
Anytime we have an opportunity to give back to the foundation and charities, again, it's an opportunity where underserved communities and kids need that opportunity or just a chance. And when you do these type of events to help the foundation, that's what it's doing.
Slug Ball is run by several baseball masterminds, including 2 former major leaguers: 6-time All-Star Kenny Lofton, who serves as an advisor, and co-founder Ruben Amaro Jr., who in his post-playing days served as general manager of the Phillies. Now you might be asking, what exactly is slug ball? Well, think of it as a reimagined version of baseball. Unlike the traditional 9 innings, this game has 4 rounds, and scoring is based on where you hit the ball, not how many runners cross home plate.
These guys got to feel how important situation hitting is, and that was the concept of this. Everyone can't hit home runs anymore. Everyone can't run the bases, but everyone can put the ball in play, and situational hitting is a perfect thing to do.
And the day was a great trip down memory lane for fans who got to catch up with their former idols and see them take the field again, and for the players who no longer get to see their teammates every day.
Everyone's in different states, and the players that you played with you only get to see for 3-4 days while you're here for alumni. To come here and slug ball and still some of the guys are playing, helping Ruben Amaro out, and really learning a game that I've never played before, and it's kind of fun.
Now, these guys were all-stars when I grew up watching them play, so I had to ask them how it felt to pick up a bat all these years later.
I kind of realized how old I am, so I think I limited to 8 swings, and I think I benched myself, so. But it's fun to be out here.
And I can hit, but I can't run. But I'm good. I can put the ball in play.
You were known for running.
Well, right now I'm known to put the ball in play, and right now putting the ball in play and running in the game today means nothing.
And while the league may not be about power hitting, slug ball surely is a home run. From Philadelphia, Mike Black on New Jersey.
What a great piece. Thank you, Mike, for that. Slug ball. I love it. I love these guys. I get hit, but I can't run. I know that feeling, man, oh man. But it's still great to see those superstars. They are still superstars hitting the ball. It is 828 New Jersey creating a special license plate celebrating the 250th anniversary of America's founding. The plate features George Washington crossing the Delaware River, which of course was here. It'll include the phrase Crossroad of the Revolution to highlight New Jersey's history. The plates are expected to become available in about 13 months. Drivers will pay $50 to apply and $10 each year for renewal. Of course, why couldn't you get it in the 250th year? You're going to have it come out in the 251st year? I don't know. At least 500 applications are needed before production can begin. So there you go. If you get in line and start applying, we'll get the ball in motion here. And are you a Powerball player? A New Jersey lottery player won $500,000 in Monday's double play drawing. The winning ticket matched all 5 white balls in the second chance drawing, which is why you don't throw out your ticket. Don't just say, oh, I didn't win the big jackpot and toss it out. Keep it for a little bit and double check. You might win the double play or the second drawing, I should say. The ticket was purchased online through the Jack Pocket app, which, yes, I have. Meanwhile, the Powerball jackpot has grown to an estimated $1 billion. Jackpot is now among the largest prizes in Powerball history. It's in the top 5, I believe. More numbers will be drawn tonight, with players having jackpot odds of about 292 million to 1. But you will be that one. You will be that one. All right, it is 8:29 right now, 73 degrees. When we come back, get ready for a weekend of high-flying action at Monster Jam. It's going to roll into the Prudential Center. We'll have one of the drivers coming up next. A very good morning, Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. It is 74 degrees now at 8:32. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Mike, I'm all excited because we have a Monster Jam driver
Okay.
coming up next. And I don't know about you. When I was a kid, I used to love Monster Jam. Was like awesome. And I got to confess, as an adult, I love it myself too.
Well, we've got some great weather for just an average drive, if you will, down the shore. Because with awesome forecast weather ahead going into the next few days, these temperatures will feel lovely down by the beaches and even inland. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s with the low humidity. That's key, and the sunshine that'll be around each afternoon as well. Nothing more than a little bit of a light breeze this morning, keeping the pests away for now. But I think they'll be back, especially as we head into the weekend, with the allergens too, because grass pollen's rising up to the moderate level as a lot of those lawns responding to all of the water we've seen over the last few days. Sunrise now a little bit later, now after 6 a.m., sunset before 8 p.m. So that's it. We've crossed the threshold now with earlier and earlier sunsets as we look ahead to some really warm afternoons. Water temperatures are in the 70s, clear throughout the state, even from Sandy Hook, the warmest location, a little bit cooler down toward Atlantic City, but a low risk of rip currents because of those light winds and no storms out to sea. So some good news there. We're dry over the next few days, specifically on Saturday. The Sunday chance of rain is later on in the afternoon, so not really an issue for us unless you have plans later Sunday evening, for instance. But it's the overnight rain tonight. Get the loud round of thunderstorms that comes through, clears out by early tomorrow morning, and then plenty of sunshine clear through Friday into Saturday with that lovely high pressure providing the dry air and the cooler feel that'll take over beginning this weekend. You can even see it on the 7-day forecast with highs only making it into the low 80s. That's average, with the best day of the 7-day forecast looking to be on Saturday. And then we continue that dry weather going into Monday and Tuesday. It looks great even throughout the first part of next week. Maybe a little bit of that light shower activity Sunday afternoon into Monday down the shore, but beyond that, a pleasant second half of the month of August. At least we're starting off that way.
All right, we'll take what we can get at this point. We just want some sunshine before the cold
Mhm.
weather comes. That's all. All right, Mike, thank you, sir. 74 degrees right now, northern New Jersey. We have 72 degrees in Trenton. It's 71 degrees Cape May, 74 degrees in Vineland. And it is 8:35. And get ready for a weekend of high-flying action as Monster Jam rolls into the Prudential Center with 4 shows from August 14th through the 16th. That's this coming weekend. To give us a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to compete at this level and what fans can expect this weekend, we have Angelina Knock, Monster Jam
Hi,
driver. Angelina, good morning. I'm so excited to have you
good morning.
on.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be back in New Jersey. Like you said, we'll be at the Prudential Center all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is actually my third time coming to the Prudential Center, and I'm super excited to be back.
Oh, it is good. I think we had you on last year, if I'm correct, before the show. And it's such a great thing to do. I mean, the Prudential Center is a great venue right in the heart of Newark. And they really literally transform the whole arena, right? They truck in dirt, they truck in it's just a whole transformation. It takes a whole weekend to do that, I understand.
Yeah, I always say it's not often you get to see your local arena filled up with about 90 truckloads of dirt. So we fill up the entire arena floor with dirt. We build a pod. We have a whole team of our dirt crew that helps put together that pod. And I always suggest to, we have our 4 events happening, but we only have 2 pit parties, Saturday and Sunday morning. And you don't want to miss that either. You get to walk on the grounds, feel the dirt, get to see the trucks up close. You get to meet all of us drivers. And that's just one of my favorite parts, is actually getting to meet the fans at our pit party.
So how I have to ask, how do you get to this point to be a Monster Jam driver? I mean, do you just like when you're on the average highway on Tuesday, do you just drive over the car in front of you?
I will say sometimes I forget I'm driving my normal car when I hit a speed bump, and I'm like, gosh, I need to slow down on the speed bumps. I'm not driving a monster truck. No, but every driver has such an incredible background, a different story. I come from a long line of daredevils. So I'm an 8th generation daredevil. My father and I, you may have caught us on America's Got Talent Extreme in season 17. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of risky business for a very long time. And then I got the great opportunity to try out for Monster Monster Jam. And not a lot of people know we have what's called Monster Jam University. So we go through a whole process, getting to learn from the very best. Tom Mentz, out in his house, in his facility, he has what we call Monster Jam University. And if you're a super fan, you know exactly who Tom Mentz is, an incredible driver. I call him the godfather of Monster Jam. But yeah, so I've learned all the tricks and everything that I've needed to, take my career to the next level. Now this is my third year competing with Monster Jam.
So now, where do you go to get these vehicles built and maintained? They're just so awesome. Just it's a type thing that inspires you no matter what your age, because I think it brings you back to youth and like toy trucks and stuff like that. So where do these things get designed and built?
So Monster Jam is actually based out of Florida, where we have a huge facility where we have a whole team of UNOH students, or they were UNOH technicians, and they keep these trucks in tip-top shape. But yeah, it is incredible. We do transport about 8 trucks. For this event this weekend, you'll have 8 trucks. And yeah, it is such an incredible, just how the team brings everything together and gets this live event going.
Do they come in? They don't drive the actual trucks on the roads, do they? They come in on
No.
a flatbed of some sort, right?
How cool would that be? No, but we actually transport them 2 trucks at a time. We actually pull off the big BKT tires, and then we put tractor tires on the trucks in order for them to fit inside of the shipping container or the truck that is bringing them in.
I got it. But it's just such great entertainment. And I think even people who think they're not going to enjoy this show will enjoy this show. I remember my mother came with my dad, my brother, and me years ago. My mother was the one, she was up screaming more than anyone else. She had a blast. It's just fun, and it's sort of controlled chaos, right? And so you just look at it and you think, oh my God, it's a spectacle, because those vehicles are doing acrobatics that you think that they could not possibly do.
Yeah, and like you said, it is a family event. It's what I was saying earlier about the pit party. One of my favorite things about it is getting to meet the families and the parents saying, oh, my parents used to bring me, and now they're bringing their kids. Even their grandparents are coming out. So it's actually for the entire family. And what a lot of people don't even realize, it is a competition. So each event, we are trying to end that competition with a win. I am one of 2 females driving this weekend. So you'll have me and Jamie Sullivan competing against 6 men. So it's like, it's for everyone. It's such an entertaining thing to go see. A lot of people think it's like planned out, but not one event is the same to the one prior or be after. Everything is every event is totally different. It's unexpected. We don't know who's going to win. It is definitely a competition. I'm there trying to do my best, as all of us, trying to get that win at the end of the event.
Angelina, how cool is it when you walk away and you just kick the guy's butt with your truck?
Yep, that is the goal. I always say I'm Mexican American. I say I'm pequeña but mighty. I'm 5'0", competing against, all sorts of different people from all over the world. It's just such an incredible, unique competition.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that it is totally unscripted. So even you don't know when you're going into this what's going to happen at the end, right?
No, like you said, it's controlled chaos. It's been about 3 years now. I started off, but it's taken me this long to get to the point where I am today. And I'm still learning every single day, driving these 12,000-pound trucks, just trying to get better and better each event. I'm one of the newer drivers, so competing against even someone that's been driving longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
But it's totally entertaining, and the minute I found out about Monster Jam, I have been a huge fan ever since. And it's like I said before, it's a generational thing. It's a family event. Families have been enjoying it for many generations now, and it's just so cool to be a part of it.
Totally. Just out of curiosity, from a safety perspective, do you ever get nervous? Because I mean, listen, when one of those trucks is flipping, yeah, I know you're belted in very tightly, but it can be a little unnerving. I'm sure the first time you did that must have been a little unnerving.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like anything, it takes, lots of practice, we have had to roll over plenty of times, and it will happen this weekend, right? Like can't avoid it sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, we are completely strapped in. I actually can't move my head left, right, up, down. I'm just using my eyes. My helmet, I'm actually connected to a radio, and I have a crew chief that is also my eyes that helps me, communicates to me on what the conditions look like if I'm not able to see my other competitors, how they're doing out on the track. But yeah, lots of communication with my crew chief, totally strapped in, can't move, hardly move in there. But yeah, lots of practice to get to the point where I am now.
And that is, I had no idea that you were that immobile. That's phenomenal. Where can fans learn more about the events and how to get tickets, Angelina?
Yeah, we are here at the Prudential Center Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but you can get all of the information that you would like on monsterjam.com. You get to see all the drivers that are coming to town. You'll see the times, tickets, anything you need to know, monsterjam.com.
I love it. Monster Jam at the Prudential Center in Newark this weekend, August 14th through the 16th. Monster Jam driver Angelina Knock. Have a blast this weekend. Best of luck and thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Ken, for having me. Have a great day.
I'm very excited to have you. Thank you. You as well. All right. That is so cool. 74 degrees, 843. When we come back, there's a unique new coffee from Hawaii coming to the Garden State. We will explain in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:45, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
And Mike, we just had Monster Jam driver Angelina Knock on, and I said to Pam, our director, I was going to make a sexist comment and say, you could drive the truck, but we know it's a woman driving the truck because she can't park it. But then I said I'm not going to say it, but I said it. There. Now I'm going to get the letters and the emails. Why did I do it? Why? And Pam just said, Ken, real women drive trucks.
Indeed they do. Indeed they do. When
Yes.
Stephanie pulled up to in front of the hotel the other day for an appointment, gets out of the big truck, and the doorman's like, "Big truck for you." It's like, yeah, real women do drive trucks, and so married to one, I get it. I know what it's like. When you have to take the 2 steps to get up there. Yeah, that's I guess that makes it real. Anyway,
Yeah.
Regardless, with the flooding rains, Ken, that are coming in for later on tonight down the shore specifically, we get another round of thunderstorms that could drop an inch, maybe an inch and a half of rain. You see the stripe of blue moving in across portions of central and southern New Jersey because more rain moves in tonight. You never want to drive through that, even if it's during the overnight hours. It's all about, well, staying safe. And as we head into the next few weeks, entering spotted lanternfly season, all of the lingering puddles promoting the mosquitoes that we've seen so much of, that is going to be high, at least for the next few weeks. The northern half of the state has seen their fair share of rainfall over the last 30 days. So no more drought, no more rainfall deficit. A lot of the lingering drought working its way out down across southern New Jersey, but we'll just enjoy the sunshine from this point forward, specifically with the clearing and the dry weather, the less humidity, temperatures that are around average each day, and cooling off each afternoon, even though most of the extreme heat is down toward the Gulf Coast states over the next 2 weeks. Through the end of the month, we look pretty good, even with the quiet tropics right now. So temperatures cooling off into the low 80s, beautiful weather on Saturday, maybe a late day shower by Sunday, and then it's back to pretty weather into Monday and Tuesday of next week. Great week to kick off vacation, even for those planning that late August vacation. Maybe a sprinkle down the shore early Monday, but beyond that, nice and dry and cooler and more pleasant. The pleasant part of summer now begins as these kids start thinking about going back to school. Less than 3 weeks away they start, most starting before Labor Day this year because it's so late. So yeah, we're soaking up every last drop of sunshine that we can.
I love how you said it. These kids sound like a little old man on the
Yeah.
porch with a cane. These kids, if they knew what's good for them. I used to walk back and forth to school up hills both ways when I was a kid, you little bastard. I could just hear you. I can hear you right now. I know what's in your mind, sir. Well, you got two little ones anyway. So, all right, Mike, we will check with you again mañana. Thank you, sir, and enjoy the
You
day.
bet.
All right. It is 8:49. And in terms of traffic, the only thing we want to tell you about is the Hudson River crossings. Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 35 minutes in right now. We had an earlier problem with the bus lane being out from a disabled bus. That has been cleared. So now things are back moving fairly normally, especially in the bus lanes. And the GWB upper and lower levels 8095 approach just starting to build a little bit just beyond the camera shop. That's still only going to cost you 15 to 20 in. 8:49 is our time. From Hawaii to New Jersey, Badass Coffee of Hawaii is bringing its unique brand of island-inspired coffee and commitment to giving back to communities all across the Garden State. To tell us more of the story behind the brand, why he brought it to New Jersey, and how his business is making a difference locally and beyond, we have Tyler T.J. Bowman, who is president of Bowman Hospitality Group. Tyler, good morning. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. How are you this morning?
What do you prefer, TJ? Shall I call you TJ?
TJ is fine.
All right. So, TJ, for people who may not be familiar with Badass Coffee of Hawaii, first of all, there's a reason why it's called Badass Coffee, right? It has to do with the donkeys?
Yeah, so it's really to highlight the hardworking donkeys that have carried the coffee beans from the top of the mountains for many years. Affectionately, they've been called the badass ones, so that's kind of where the name Badass Coffee came from.
Because they have to walk from the crests of those mountains down loose soil, and I mean literally a horse would slip and fall. I mean, that would be the end of it. You couldn't even get a horse to go up there. So it's amazing. Those donkeys are really truly the work behind getting those beans down, right?
That is 100% correct, Ken.
So why is it so necessary for people who don't realize, from a climate perspective, to be able to grow the beans up at the top of the mountain? Isn't the environment up there just totally different than it is down in the valley?
That is correct. If you look at the world, there's a band around it called the Coffee Belt.
Hmm.
Hawaii, only U.S. We'll call it region that sits within that belt, and you need the elevation in order to grow those beans.
Hmm. So it's a
So the
combination of getting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's the tropical climate, it's the elevation, it's a specific amount of rainfall that produces what is America's only true coffee export, as well as one of the most expensive coffees. And
And I
most
was reading.
fits.
I was reading you also need a certain amount of like wind, which is why you have it elevated, and that kind of prevents mold and whatnot from growing on the berries. So it's really sort of like you need certain areas for grapes, you need certain areas for coffee beans. It's a very specific science.
Yes, we actually growing grapes for wine and stuff like that, and coffee beans are very similar in
Mhm.
the way they're treated, the way they're graded, all those types of things.
So now you have dozens of locations all over the country, right? You're in Utah, and now what made you come to New Jersey?
Right, yeah. So, the brand's been around since 1989, started on the Big Island, expanded in 1990 into the mainland of the United States. About 3 years, or about, yeah, about 2.5, 3 years ago, my group, uh, Jim and I both decided we're sitting in Naples, Florida. There's a huge store down on 3rd Street if you've ever been down there.
Hmm.
It's been a staple there. So we were sitting there, and it was right after I left the tech world. I looked at him and I said, "Hey, let's bring this to New Jersey." And we started doing the process. We opened our first store last year, and we opened the second one right now. We have two more on the way. I think, you know, in the world of the Starbucks, the Dunkins, all those fast chains, uh, none of them really produce a gourmet or Hawaiian based coffee. Uh, it's not readily available at most coffee shops,
Hmm.
so it's filling a gap in our opinion. However, being a national, as I guess the right way to put it is, even though Badass is a national brand, it is still locally owned and operated, which is very different than a lot of these companies' models.
Yeah, so you're in New Jersey, you're in Wall Township and in Madison, two great locations.
Yes.
Tell us about your good program, your Badass for Good program, and the work that you're doing to support all the causes in the communities where you operate. So you become an intricate part of the community, like a good local business, as opposed to a corporate company, from a distance, right?
Correct. So nationally, right now, we have the Give a Hoof program going on. Excuse me, um, and that's really our way of giving back to the donkey rescues that have taken donkeys in from being slaughtered and stuff like that. So right now, we have a limited time blend, which I actually have with us. It's in our stores right now, the Venejo blend. Um, every $5 from every bag is going to support those the three charities that we're backing with the donkey program. So that's one way to donate. We have a roundup going on as well, and you can always donate online. But not saying that's the only thing we do. That's what we do on a national level. From a Bowman Hospitality Group level, in Madison and in New Jersey and Wall, we're both supporting both local high school football teams. We're tied in with the Boys and Girls Clubs of New Jersey. We're tied in with Ronald McDonald House, the local fire departments, EMS, police departments, the towns themselves. So before we ever made a dollar in Madison, we backed the entire slate of Chamber of Commerce
Wow.
events, the
Wow.
community before we.
Talk about
Yeah.
talk about really, I mean, committing yourselves into the community. So it's like you before you marry the individual, you learn about their family, you date them for a while, and that's sort of what you've done before you came in and tried to market to the community to prove yourself. And I'm sure that is very appreciated in the community. I got to just say, I'm looking at some of your drinks online: Jenny's Wild Pistachio, Coffee Cooler. The Big Kahuna, the Badass Patriot 250. Tell us about here, let me just zoom in here. Tell us about the Badass Patriot 250.
So that was our 250 year drink. It's essentially a red, white, and blue lemonade with cranberry and blue curacao. It was a phenomenal drink. Actually, on 4th of July, at both of our locations, we probably gave away 50 a day. So every first 5 customers on the top of the hour got one for free.
Oh, how cool. How very cool. And you're offering a limited edition blend right now, the Viejos blend, $5 from every bag sold going directly to Donkey Sanctuary. So good. Talk about that again.
Yeah, so we don't release this blend very often. It's once a year. It is a phenomenal blend. So as we kind of said, it's $5 of every bag is getting donated back to those rescues and those uh, donkey sanctuaries and those communities.
Wow, that is awesome. Tell everybody your website for more information, please, TJ.
No problem. It's badasscoffee.com. Find it on any mobile browser.
Fantastic. Well, we hope that you got 2 locations in New Jersey now. Let's hope you get 20 more in the next couple of years because you got a great product, but more important than that, you have a great attitude and a great heart, and we appreciate that.
Thank you. I will tell you, we just announced this with NJ Biz a couple weeks ago. We are just starting construction in our Oakhurst location, as well as finalizing our East Brunswick location.
Oh, that's fantastic. East Brunswick is only 10 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. I can't wait. That's going to be great. You're going to have to kick me out of your store in East Brunswick. I'll be there so often. Thank you so
You can
much.
be there.
You
No
got it.
problem.
Well,
You have a
listen,
great day, Ken.
when you open up, we'll come out. We'd love to do that. It is called
Sounds
Badass
good.
Coffee of Hawaii. Look for its unique brand of island-inspired coffee here in the Garden State now with its newest locations. Tyler T.J. Bowman, president of Bowman Hospitality Group. Thanks for coming on this morning, TJ.
Thank you, Ken.
You bet. Have a great day. Good man. And what a great product. All right. Thank you so much for watching Out of Jersey Mornings. We'll see you again bright and early tomorrow. Have a great day.